People often say to me, it must be nice just to buy whatever you want. Yeah, it is. But even though I'm all about high collectibles, especially high-end statues, there are actually reasons I will not buy a piece. Today, we're going to count down the top 10 reasons why I wouldn't buy a statue. Hey everybody, my name is Mr. X. This is the Extreme Channel. On this channel, a big portion of it is all about high-end collectibles, specifically statues. And I'm a statue addict, a statue buying fool, whatever you want to call it. But believe it or not, there are some very specific reasons where I will not purchase a piece. So I wanted to do a top 10 list of these reasons for you guys. Before we dive in, right now in the comments below, I want you to put reasons you would not buy a statue, especially if you had the resources to do so. That comment also enters you into a monthly drawing. Then we're also incredibly close to doing this giveaway as well. On our road to 20,000 subs, we are giving out this Mortal Kombat statue at 12,500 subs. All you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, and you've hit that bell notification and stay tuned for that giveaway. So before we get started on the list, there's a few things I want to let you know. There's some obvious stuff I left out. For example, if it's a piss poor paint job or a piss poor sculpt, of course I'm not going to buy it. If the concept is stupid, if it's Wolverine urinating in Deadpool's mouth, that actually might be pretty cool. But if it's a stupid concept, I wouldn't buy it either, but those are not things I'm talking about on the top 10 list. Or if somebody like me painted it, or a sculptor with Parkinson's, oh, you know I got some thumbs down for saying that. I'm just kidding. Or am I? So keep that in mind as we dive into this list. So I need my list and a beer. It's like magic. So as we dive in, something I'm going to let you guys know, try and guess my number one. I bet you nobody will guess it. So reasons I would not buy a statue. This one barely made the list, but it did. Number 10 is I wouldn't buy a statue just to piss off a hater. I do this sometimes. I said do. Because it's like watching a fat kid in a candy store with handcuffs on and he can't touch anything. So while I have done that before, bought a statue just to piss someone off, it is a reason I would definitely hold back. Number 9, very low on the list, is the material it's made out of. Very rarely does this affect my decision, but sometimes it will. Especially lately, there's been a lot of controversy with statues coming out, not just in polystone or resin or polyresin, but like PVC, which is a much lighter material. That doesn't concern me too much, however, it definitely will. For the most part, if a statue looks great, that's good enough for me.
That's what she said.
But every once in a while, you can just tell the material looks cheaper, so for that reason, I may opt out of purchasing a statue. An example of that actually was the Sideshow Doomsday Maquette. And I know this statue is very popular and those that have it love it, but I didn't even consider it when I saw someone able to squish the head like it was a rubber ball. Number 8 on the reasons I will not buy a statue. Believe it or not, price does come into play. Now I know you're thinking, Mr. X, I know you've bought statues over $3,000, $4,000, and $5,000. Well, those are exceptions. Sometimes I practice hashtag restraint. Sometimes I just think a statue is not worth it. Sometimes I think it is. One of the things you're going to find out about a lot of people with resources is you can't judge a book by its cover. So for example, I actually get a lot of shit for my hair because it looks like I cut it myself. I do. And the reason for that is I can't justify spending $30 on a stylist with something I can do at home that I don't care too much about. So there are certain things that are priority to me and certain things that are not. Another great example is if it's my birthday and my wife wants to take me out, we don't have to go to a $100 steak place. I could be happy going to a $15 a plate place and be just as satisfied. But with both of those occasions, I also am a huge tipper. I think people that deserve tips should be compensated very well. So price isn't really price. I always tell people that work for me, because I have a lot of commission people, is it's more about value. And you have to show the value in that product for somebody. But every once in a while, price will keep me from buying a statue. Number 7, and this has happened a few different times. I will not buy a statue because the company or the creator of the statue is a douche. I just don't want to support their work. And when I say douche, it doesn't mean I don't like them. It generally means that they really suck at customer service or they've done some shady stuff. Now there are exceptions from this. This is not number 1, this is number 7. I have bought pieces from people that I don't approve of simply because I wanted the piece. It's kind of like this. You hear a lot people want to like bash Walmart, for example. They're one of the biggest.
That's what she said.
And they believe that if they don't shop there, they won't be supporting Walmart. Well, guess what? Walmart's going to grow no matter what, whether you shop there or not. And the fact that I can go there and save 10 to 20% on my groceries, I still choose to shop at Walmart because if I don't shop there, the only person it hurts is me. Again, this is just my opinion, and if you disagree, that is great. But sometimes I will not buy something because I disagree with the company or the producer of that piece. Number 6 is paint. Now, I want to be specific on this. I talked about this at the beginning. I said paint's not included. I'm not talking about like, oh, they do a bad paint job, the paint's messy, it's not clean. I'm talking about if the paint is completely off reference. So for example, if they gave me a Spider-Man wearing a yellow and purple outfit, not referencing any Spider-Man character that's ever been created, that would completely get me out of the game for that piece. If they can't get the colors right, and I'm talking about the basic colors, not a different shade of red or something of that nature, then I am completely out. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm traditionally not a huge fan of variants where they do stuff like that unless there is general reference for that character in that color. Number 5 reason I wouldn't buy a statue is if I'm unfamiliar with the character. I know you're watching thinking right now, Mr. X, I've seen you do that 30 times. Yes, but you should see how many times I haven't done it just because it was a character I did not know. Especially recently with a lot of these anime pieces, I'm starting to get into the series that actually produced the character that the statue came from. And it's pretty cool, actually. It's almost like backwards discovering this stuff. But for example, if there's a character I know and there's a badass statue coming out, I'm going to buy him no matter what. However, if I don't know who the character is, I'm going to throw caution to the wind. 4th reason is it won't go with my collection, particularly in scale. What I mean by that is all of my X-Men pieces are 1/4 scale. I will not buy a half scale. I will not buy a 1/3 scale because it won't go well with those pieces. While scale is the primary thing I'm talking about here, if the scale won't go with my collection because I hate mixing scales, there are some other factors too. For example, if this was the case, it's not, but sticking with X-Men, if there was an X-Force version of an X-Men character and I had no X-Force pieces, I would not buy that standalone X-Force piece. So if it won't go with my collection, I'm going to go ahead and pass on that. That is number 4 reason I would not buy a statue. Number 3 is if that company or studio had bad pieces come out in the past. And I don't mean 1 or 2, but I mean multiple bad pieces. They've had more bad pieces than good pieces. Every single company and every single studio is going to have pieces that bomb. It's just the realism of life. You cannot put out perfect product after perfect product. Because if you did, you probably wouldn't be making statues. If you were perfect, you'd be ruling the world or something. But if a studio or company has more bad pieces they put out than good, they'll probably stay away for that reason. One of them, and this isn't going to be a popular opinion, but I stay away from HCG for that reason, Hollywood Collectible Group. I'm not a fan of them. Every single piece I've seen in person, I'm always disappointed. Even though there's some pieces I really want of theirs. Number 2 is similar to number 5, but with a little bit of a twist. Number 5 was a character I'm unfamiliar with. Number 2 is a character I don't like. If I think it's a stupid character, it's highly likely I will not buy that character, even if the statue looks badass. Now, there are characters that I'm impartial to, where I neither like nor dislike. That's a different story, but there are characters who I think are just stupid. There's no reason I would ever purchase a statue of that. For example, if they came out with the baddest ass Jar Jar Binks statue, sorry, not gonna happen. So number 2 is I would not purchase a character I don't like. So now we're down to number 1. Did you guess below? Number 1 reason I wouldn't buy a statue is going to surprise all you. It's the pose. To me, the pose of a statue is so incredibly important. And of course, this isn't universal because it depends on the character, it depends on the concept. But to me, it's an instant, nope, that's not for me. I've seen some badass pieces from some awesome companies and studios, and pose alone immediately knocks it out as an option for me. You guys have heard me talk about Silver Surfer, my favorite character. I had a video you can actually check out, and I talk about how important pose is with him. But it's important with every single character. I think it can completely make or break the statue regardless of the sculpt, paint, concept. Pose is the number 1 reason I would not buy a statue. So now it's the time in the video where if you haven't commented yet, I want to hear your comments on what are the reasons you wouldn't buy a statue. Can you relate to any of the ones I said, or are there some that I didn't even come up with? So put that down in the comments below. That'll also enter you into the monthly contest. But thanks for watching, guys. I got a few other top 10 videos, so I'm pretty excited about that. A lot of concepts coming out for you guys. Go ahead and hit that Mr. X logo to subscribe. I don't know what side it's on. And then you'll see all those top 10 videos as well as some upcoming statue reviews. And check out these other miscellaneous playlists. Until tomorrow, take care. I'm so gonna keep that in.
That's what she said.